Welcome back, Guardians. In light of recent events across the system, the libraries of the Tower have once again become active with seekers of knowledge. The coming of Oryx has changed a great magnitude of intricacies. What we knew of the Hive and what we are to discover together will open the doors to our universe ever wider. But where to begin? The uncovered books of sorrows are of great interest to many, or perhaps the Time Walker prateth. Surely they deserve our attention more than our current adversaries. But to paint the most elaborate picture of our enemy's strength is to start with the War Priest, the supposed engineer of Oryx's freedom. You see, we must explain the source of the Hive's power and by correlation the strength of Oryx. On Fundament, the birthplace of the Hive's journey as a people, but not their original homeworld, Oryx and his two sisters would strike a deal with the worm gods found deep inside the gas giant. They promised everlasting power, strength, and the ability to meld oneself into anything imaginable. Oryx and his people were currently subjugated, slaves to the helium drinkers and the harsh environment of Fundament itself. To Oryx, the path was clear. Take this magnificent power and wield it. Without sounding sympathetic to his plight, we Guardians have essentially done the same thing, taking strength from a god we don't understand to fight for the future of humanity. There is one quintessential difference. There is no requirement for Guardians to fight, kill, and ruin. We do so because we are in a defensive war, or war of reclamation. Oryx must fight because the worm that has latched itself to his soul grows gluttonous. It must feed on ruin, despair, and death constantly, or it will consume Oryx. To be fair, this is a very brief explanation of the hive worms and how they operate. How they even came to be. There is speculation that these worms and the Ahamkara are linked, but how and in what fashion are still mysteries. The worms and the hive origins on Fundament will undoubtedly fall into future reports. For now, we must explain the enemies you face in the present. To briefly sum up the explanation of the worms and their relationship to Oryx and the hive, it is presented like this. Oryx must kill, ruin, or subjugate each new species he encounters. He must then either take them, transforming their will into eldritch horrors, or more simply, commence complete and total genocide. It matters not to Oryx or his worm gods. It is a simple, tangible truth. It is raw, but blunt. Our destruction, and the ends of so many that came before us on the Hive's 10,000-year conquest is the lifeblood to their existence. Without conquest, Oryx will be consumed by his worm. Their greatest strength, the source of all their abominations, is to be made inconsequential by you and your allies. But for a moment, what if Oryx didn't need to feed his gluttonous parasite that has latched itself so completely to his being? What if Oryx, and by collaboration the Hive, didn't need the worm gods, didn't need to destroy or consume worlds in their peripheral? Could we see an end to the millennia of torment and death at the hands of this misguided race? Perhaps. But Oryx was once a proud being motivated by survival, not warfare. Oftentimes, these two characteristics blur, as we see with the grander story of the Hive people, but the War Priest's existence suggests Oryx seeks a true freedom. You see, the War Priest is attempting to abolish the need for the worm, the need to constantly kill and struggle against opposing forces for some god or gods. Ultimately, this sounds a bit more hopeful than truth would allow. Oryx's final goal now is to end our Traveler. After 10,000 years of killing and destruction, Oryx is no longer a being that can be separated from his final goal, this total destruction. You must challenge this War Priest. Challenge him to bloody combat. Earn his approval by standing upon a mountain of the desecrated remains of thrall and knight alike. Show him that you understand the language of his people, that light can be as unforgivable and unbearable as darkness. This is a summoning ritual. You summon the two elements that you must hold on to, the courage to face the War Priest and all the horrors in front of you, and the ability to end Oryx. Because to Oryx and the Hive that follow him, there are but two options: destruction of our grand city, and by consequence the traveler, or the end of Oryx's worm at the center of his being. But the War Priest will not be easy prey, even for experienced guardians or veterans of Luna's raids. The War Priest brings an Oversoul with him in battle, and he will use it to erase your light from the reality of that ascendant realm. It is said he has learned this mysticism from Crota, son of Oryx, son to the Navigator, dead by the hands of guardians. You must match the prowess of the War Priest in unison with other guardians, earn his respect, and the gate to his death will open. For Hive find few things worthy, and death by the hands of those better is perhaps one of their longest out-of-reach objectives, something they have sought since the conquest of Fundament an eon ago. According to the Book of Sorrows, Oryx is eradicating life throughout the universe to perfect life, to create a species that will last the heat death of the universe, to surpass entropy. See to it that the only freedom Oryx is permitted is an end to his people at your hands. For if we face total annihilation at the hands of this being, we will no longer find battle with the hope of Hive redemption. The only brevity they should receive from Guardians is the cold embrace of the Void. See to it you stay safe aboard the Dreadnought, Guardian, for you face an uncountable tide of hatred-infused abominations that seek only your end.